What's up, everybody? Welcome into another Big Man on Campus podcast. Today we're shifting gears and we're getting ready and geared up for the upcoming Major League Baseball season, getting going here in about a week. We're filming this on March 25th. We got about 6 or 7 days till the MLB season gets going, and it's time to do some previews. Today we're taking a look at the AL. We'll talk about the Pennant. Who are the teams that you need to keep your eye on? Obviously, if you know much about the American League, not a ton to sink your teeth into from a large perspective. There are three really good teams, and then there are just everybody else. It's that simple. You look here at really what happened last year. Obviously, you got to ask yourself, you start with the Red Sox. Can they continue to do what they did last year? I mean, look, this team, was unbelievable from an offensive perspective. We know that middle four with Benintendi, Mookie Betts, JD Martinez, and Bogarts. Nobody wanted to see that group. 5.45 runs a game, a 338 on base percentage as a team. Just terrific. How do you continue that? I guess if you're the Red Sox, if it's not broke, don't fix it. You look at this Red Sox team, really didn't do anything. They did nothing as far as making moves, really. Did some minor things, brought back Steve Pearce, added, very little from an offensive perspective, kind of shored up what they had. But you look at really this roster, the big glaring problem is, what are you going to do at the back end of the bullpen? And what are you going to do with this bullpen in general? This is not a particularly good group. I know they ended up winning the World Series and they kind of sat on Sale and David Price and all those guys, but this isn't a particularly good bullpen. It's just that simple. There's no closer at this point. Kimbrel's gone. You look at some of these guys. Matt Barnes, decent. Thornburg, Workman, those kind of guys, but there really isn't, that big-time name. There isn't that big-time closer, and it's a concern for this group. Again, I understand if it's not broke, don't fix it, but you have to figure, you look at any win streak you're on, any great run you're on, you have to figure at some point it's going to come back to earth. And, we've seen that. We look at how great Houston was when they won the World Series that year. It evened out a bit. It's not going to last forever. And, think that they're going to be able to hit like they did last year and they're going to, slug the way they did last year. This was a team last year, guys, 338 on base percentage. You look at slugging, 449. You look at slugging at home, 472 this group was in Fenway last year. You didn't do a ton to improve yourself, though. Do you really need to? That's the big question that defines, I think, what this Red Sox team is going to do. You look at the rotation, solid. Obviously, Sale's terrific. We all know David Price issue, and that's the New York Yankees. And that's going to be your general competition this year. Eovaldi, solid 4, and then Eduardo Rodriguez, pretty good rotation here. You got to hope Rick Porcello can give you something. You got to hope Eovaldi has a good year. Look, to me, the favorite in the AL, and I'm going to come out and say it, I think it's the New York Yankees. I look at this team and what they've been able to do, and I say to myself, how's this team not the favorite? And you look at the numbers right now. To win the AL pennant, Yankees at plus 280. You look at last year, most home runs in the major leagues per game. They were terrific. They continued to mash as well. And this is a team that I thought went out and definitely got better. You look at bringing in DJ LeMahieu, a guy that they've desperately needed. They were constantly dealing with, they're bringing guys up, Tyler Alston and, Tyler Wade, and all these guys. They had to get one of those kind of veteran players, and they went out and did it. LeMahieu could play really every position, whether it's second base, whether it's third base. He could play any base, which is great. And he's also a pretty damn good hitter. This guy's a career, I think like 295 hitter. Pretty good hitter. This is a guy that you can get you some home runs, had 15 home runs last year. Really going to be that tool player you could throw out in the infield. He can give you, really any position. You went and got better there. The question mark for me in the Yankees is, and it's a small one, is first base. Is Luke Voigt going to be able to do what he was able to do? It's unlikely. And look, it doesn't seem like Greg Bird's ever going to be the player we kind of thought he'd be. He's been pretty disappointing from a Yankee perspective. We also look at Didi Gregorius, not going to play until probably June. You're going out and getting Troy Tulowitzki. I think it's a revival for his career. I mean, didn't really, had really nothing last year. You look at 2017, 7 home runs, only hit 249. Can you resurrect the guy that was, hitting, 340 in 2014? Are we ever going to see that guy again? It's unlikely. But his numbers have went downhill really since that year. So you got to hope, maybe he can give you 15 home runs. He can give you something at short until at least Didi gets back. I like my thoughts there. You look at the Yankees. Is this the best bullpen ever? I mean, it quite possibly could be. I mean, last year it was pretty damn good. You had Ottavino from the Rockies. You bring in Zach Britton. You already have Chapman as your closer. Tommy Canley, Holder, all these guys. This is a terrific bullpen. And look, don't forget the Betances, who starts out on the injured list. Terrific bullpen. You add James Paxton. Can he be your horse up front? I think he can. Can you get the 2017 Paxton? That's the Paxton you want. 18 wasn't bad, wasn't good either. But you obviously want that 2017. Look, to me, the big key for the Yankees is, can you get J Happ to have a good season? Can he do enough for you? And can you get Severino back healthy? Severino's not going to pitch in April. You're putting a lot on J Happ, because J Happ's your third starter. I don't trust Tanaka. I haven't trusted Tanaka for a long time. But again, when you win a World Series, you really need everything to kind of work for you. I think the bullpen will be there. This lineup's going to hit. I wanted them to go out last year and get a pitcher. They didn't do it. They went out in the middle of the season, got J Happ. Sonny Gray was a fucking mess. Happ is the guy. I think if Happ can be that third starter for you, and look, I'm not asking Happ to give me a complete game every time. Just give me good 6 innings. Happ can do that. You look at last year. Very good, I mean, for the most part. Whip was low. I liked what I saw to J Happ. Really a revival, I thought, from a perspective of his career. I mean, you look at last year, opponent batting average 225 for J Happ. Very good season. Give me 1 or 2 more years at a J Happ. I think this team can. Can find a way. I think they're the favorite in the AL. It's got to be them. You look at in this division, AL East, obviously we have the Red Sox and the Yankees. I think the Rays are interesting. A lot of young players there. Bring in Charlie Morton. Add him in with Blake Snell. Pretty nice 1-2 up top for the Rays. It's a young team, though, obviously. That's the big thing with the Rays. Kevin Cash is a young baseball team. You bring in a guy in Tommy Pham to be your left fielder. Nice addition there. You look at the young guys on this team. Wendell, Adames, Yandy Diaz. I mean, there's a lot of young players in this team. You bring in a big bat, Navasil Garcia. Problem with this team, I mean, is this bullpen good enough? Outside of Snell and Morton, I mean, is Glass now going to become that guy you want him to be? I thought he had a pretty good year last year. And then you look at the other team. Obviously, the third team in the trifecta in the AL, it's the Houston Astros. I get a real concern about this group from a pitching perspective. You lose Keuchel, you lose Charlie Morton, and now all of a sudden you look at this rotation, there's not a lot there. I mean, Colin McHugh's never really seemingly been the pitcher I think they wanted him to be. You lose Lance McCullers as well. I mean, look at this. You look at this rotation. There's not a lot there. I mean, you're getting a Justin Verlander that's been obviously terrific, but he's 36 years old. You got to figure he's going to be fine. I mean, Garrett Cole, great year last year. Terrific, actually. But outside of that, there's not a lot here. In fact, there's a lot of crap here. I mean, Wade Miley, Brad Peacock. And you look at this bullpen, I mean, not much there either. I like the lineup, though. Obviously, adding Brantley, I mean, one of the better contact hitters in the league, doesn't strike out. You look at Michael Brantley, he hasn't had more than 60 strikeouts since 2013 in the season. I know that's modified due to the fact that he hasn't played full seasons, but still very good. Doesn't strike out. You add him to this group, perfect. You fixed your bench a little bit. You're not going to see a ton of like your Jake Marisniks and your Marwin Gonzalez's. You went out and added some decent players. Melendez Diaz as well. You had him from St. Louis. He had 18 home runs and 55 RBIs last year. A great, kind of middle infielder. Like what you have there. I like this lineup. They're going to be fine. Altuve, Correa, Bregman, Brantley, Springer, Reddick. That's as good as it gets. All these teams are not going to have issues scoring runs. They're going to be right up in the top 5 in runs scored. The question is, when you're differentiating these teams, who is the best rotation and overall pitching staff? I think it's the Yankees. I just do. It's that simple. Boston didn't really go out and improve themselves, but they didn't really need to. But I still would have liked to have seen them retain a closer and another pitcher. And, Houston. I love the lineup. All these teams are going to be great over teams, but I don't love the bullpen, and I don't love the back end of the rotation. When you have a rotation like this, you need a good bullpen. I don't think they have that. So, all these teams have good 1-2s. It's the question of who do you trust? And let me ask you, do you trust Colin McHugh, Jay Happ, or whoever Boston throws as their third starter? Look, to me, it's Happ. And that's amazing that everything could all come down to Jay Happ, but it could. Who does Boston throw out? Is it Eovaldi, I guess? Rick Porcello? God, no. I like the Yankees. I'm a fan of them. I'm not always the biggest and best fan of them. I definitely doubt them at times. But last year, they didn't make any moves. This year, they did. You go out and get a big horse and the big maple. I love their bullpen. I think it could be the best ever. And the lineup is, you can't argue, improved from being great last year. You look at this team. Voit, Torres, Gregorius, Andujar, Stanton, Gardner, Judge. Backups, LeMahieu, Tulowitzki. And I guess, and then Gary Sanchez, a catcher. And then Austin Romine, who was a pretty damn good backup last year. I love what I see from this team. They have the best rotation, and they have the best pen. It's that simple. Yankees win the AL. It's that simple. Plus 280. You look at the Yankees. I'm grabbing them here. To me, it's a 3-team race. It's that simple. People bringing up the Indians. Look, I'm not in love with the Indians. You talk about rotation, though. They could have the best. But we all know over the years they've had a major issue at the back end of the bullpen. And in turn, the entire bullpen. They'll love this lineup. It's good, not great. Obviously, Kipnis is recovering from some injury. Francisco Lindor, we don't know when he'll be back. Obviously, he's not going to be back it's not going to be long, but a lot of knocks on this team. You look at this. You look at this lineup. You bring back Carlos Santana. Who cares? Brad Miller. Okay. Well, how old's Brad Miller at this point? I feel like Brad Miller's 35. He's not. He's 29, but still, it seems like he's a lot older. What else do you have here? Hanley Ramirez is your DH. I guess. You lose Brantley. I don't know. Not really into him. To me, it's a 3-team race. Houston, New York, and Boston. Give me the Yankees. They win the AL. Everyone have a great day. As always, make sure you subscribe so you don't ever miss a video. I will have the NL coming out very soon, so make sure you look out for that. I'm not just a basketball guy. I do baseball and soccer and football as well. This will be your coverage for baseball a year, as I will have a show every day going over the baseball card. Make sure in the dog days of summer you join the big man on campus. This will be your overall sports betting headquarters, NBA draft, NFL draft, baseball, soccer, summer league, whatever you want. I got you covered. I got what you're feeding for. Make sure you check me out, Big Man on Campus. We're going to go AL preview. We're going to take the Yankees to win the American League. Everyone have a great night. See you next time.